Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jay Orcus and this is Stardew Valley. Now I'm sure you've seen the title by now, and no, it is not a lie. I've never played this game before. I know. Now before you go to the comments, please allow me to formally apologize and get right into the game. And so, after giving myself a name and my farm, and after taking inspiration from a certain green plumber, it was time to set off on my adventure. And after getting emotionally traumatized, jumped forward a few years, spotted this handsome fellow, and Mr. Skellybones grew tired of life and decided it was time. And upon opening the letter, was greeted with the deed to my grandpa's farm, and was then asked to say hi to Lewis for him. And so, with this information in the back of my head, I quickly packed my bags and made my way to Stardew Valley. And upon stepping foot off the bus, I met Robin, found out she was a carpenter, and was then told that Mary Lewis had sent her to come show me the way to the house and that he'd be there waiting for me. And so, upon getting there, realized just how much work I had ahead of me.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa!
That's too damn bad!
We made our way to the door, and there I met Lewis. He then walked over to me and properly introduced himself to me, and was then told that everybody was looking forward to meeting me, as they don't always get new neighbors. And with one final look,
Damn.
he told me a little bit about the house, called it rustic. However, Robin felt differently, proceeding to shame me and call it crusty, and to my surprise, prompting Lewis to defend me and my honor. Or so I thought, as he then proceeds to tell me this is just her trying to get me to spend money so that she could upgrade my house. Anyway, Lewis then suggested getting some rest after my trip, foreseeing a busy day tomorrow. However, not before explaining what to do with any extra stuff I have laying around. Wished me some luck, and with Robin, took his leave. And before I knew it, it was morning. So I got out of bed and looked around my new home. Walked over to the suspicious box on the floor, instinctively swung at it, and found some parsnip seeds. Took a look at the daily news, and found out tomorrow was going to be a great day. And after stalling for long enough, took my first steps outside. And so, the very first thing I did in this new and exciting chapter in my life was, pulling weeds. How do I make that sound exciting? Anyway, yeah, so they're everywhere. This is gonna take a while. And just as soon as I started, I got a sign from the gaming gods telling me to stop because I dehomed the frog.
I better get out of here while I still can!
Anyway, now full of regret, took my anger out on trees. 1, 2, decided to take on a bigger challenger, and like they say, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Making 3, followed by 4. And so, using the wood I got from the trees, made a chest. And after finding a good spot for it, I rid my pockets of the burden, and finally, went into town. And while exploring, a floating question mark caught my eye. And here, I got my first glimpse of those who live here, and the special events that happen throughout the month. And then proceeded to go inside Pierre's, where I then met Abigail, and Pierre himself, where he then proceeded to tell me a little bit about his shop. Proceeded to look at his prices, noticed this one, and instantly noped out of there. And while making my great escape, I noticed this, an upgrade that would double my inventory. And so, I had a new goal in mind. But before I could do any of that, I met Marnie, where I then learned she sells livestock. And then I meet Caroline, who I find out is also Pierre's wife. And then I found, the altar of Yoba? Anyway, on my way out, I meet Leah, and then left Pierre's. Then watched a rabbit run into a bush, and met Evelyn. Granny. Walking around, I met Vincent, along with Jody, followed by Harvey, the town doctor. Then Emily, who I found out also works at the saloon. Met Maru and Penny, followed by Alex and Sam. While exploring, found this park, and sat on this duck thing, and thought about life. How'd I get here? Anyway, I then found a rundown building, but couldn't get inside of it as it was locked. And so, proceeded to explore a little, and found Demetrius, where he then told me he was Maru's dad. Then met Linus, and then was stopped in my tracks by a rock in the middle of the road. Tried to help, did absolutely nothing, and ran away from embarrassment. And while doing so, ran into Sebastian. Found a railroad, and proceeded to accidentally find another way to get to the house. And so, the moment you've all been waiting for, me, finally planting the seeds from this morning. Or at least I think you were. Yeah. Anyway, went back inside my house, lit the fireplace, and went to bed. And so, my first day on the farm came to an end. And as quickly as it ended, the next day started. And so, I turned off my fireplace and ran outside. Noticed I had mail, and after opening it, noticed it was from a sender named Willie, telling me they had just gotten back from a fishing trip and prompting me to go down to the beach as they had something for me. And so, like any irresponsible farmer, I kept that in the back of my head and started my day off by watering my crop. Overheard this little tree talking smack, making the count 5, and while doing some landscaping, discovered a southern exit, where I then found another farm, but it was locked till 9 a.m. And so, with time to spare, I explored the area, finding the staircase leading to a tower, hearing somebody inside, however being ignored.
Hello? Hello?
Anyway, I then proceeded to find another abandoned building, and then proceeded to find more wild spring onion than I knew what to do with. And on my way back to the barn, I noticed this building down here belonging to Leo. Then making my way back to the barn, just for no one to be there. And so, defeated, I took my leave, and ran into Leo, where she then left me with more questions than answers.
What do you mean by that?
Then ran away before she could ask me anything else. Noticed this and was told it was closed till summer, and so went to the building right next to it, where I then met Gunther, welcoming me to the Stardew Valley Archaeological Office. And then he said that the previous collection was stolen by their past curator, asking me to let him know if I found anything of interest. And then met Jazz, took my leave and headed for the beach, and got into cutscene, where I finally met Willie, where he then told me he was out at sea for a month straight, where he said he was able to catch a lot of good fish and sell them, earning enough money to buy himself a new fishing rod, and gifting me his old one, making me the proud owner of his old bamboo pole, and let me know that there was all types of fish in these waters and his shop was back open, letting me know he'd buy anything I caught, reciting a quote his pappy once told him, as he then looked out at the open ocean. And after all was said and done, I started fishing, and eventually got a bite. And after a tough battle, I finally caught a herring, took it to Willie, and left. Did some more fishing, and caught another herring, and on my way to Willie's, decided to eat it instead. Why? I don't know. You tell me. Anyway, exploring the beach, I found a shed belonging to Elliot, and then headed back to town, where I then made my way home. Decided to break some rock, and found my first geode, then prompting me to go to the blacksmith to have it cracked open. Found another geode, and then made some more plots. Planted the mixed seeds I had, and watered them. Chopped down this tree, making it 6. Went back inside my house, turned the fireplace on, checked the news. It said it was gonna rain all day tomorrow, and went to sleep. Leveled up in foraging, marking the end of day 2, and the start of 3, where I then woke up to a strange sound, chose to ignore it, and walked outside. Saw I had mail, and walked over to it, only to find out it was advertisement for the book bag upgrade from earlier, and then noticed the rain watered my crops. And so with the additional time I had, decided to chop down some trees, raising the count to 7, then 8. Sold some of the sap I collected, and with the 2 geodes in my back pocket, went into town. I then made my way over to the town quest board and saw that Alex wanted a parsnip, and since I was already growing some, I quickly accepted the quest, having 2 days to complete it. And surely they wouldn't give me a quest that was physically impossible for me to complete, right? Anyway, I then met Shane and was instantly brushed off by him, and ridding my head of that interaction, I walked over to the blacksmith, just for it to be closed till 9. And so, with spare time on my hands, I did some exploring, where I then found this building up here called Jojo Mart. Went inside, and quickly realized it looked nothing like the rest of the town. I walked over to Penny, and trying to talk to her, she just told me the prices of all the items in the store, where I noticed they were all more pricey than those of Pierre's. And while browsing the catalog, I accidentally bought their overpriced parsnip seeds. Nice. Anyway, I then met Morris and found out he was the Joja customer satisfaction representative, and on my way out I ran into Shane. And so, with Penny and Shane both working, I took my leave, heading straight for the blacksmith. And with 25 gold of geode, I started cracking them, getting a jagite from my first one and a calcite on my second. And upon going to sell them, realized just how much profit I made off of these 2 geodes. So I quickly sold them and got out of there. I came back up here to see if it was cleared yet, and no, it was not. Tried to help, still did nothing. So I ran away. Went to visit Linus, just for him to tell me he doesn't trust me. And so then I just gave him a leak. I don't really have anything else to give him. Anyway, I then left and headed for the farm. And upon getting there, I noticed this cave to the left. And once inside, I noticed how empty it was, and there was literally nothing there for me. I then proceeded to find this rundown building, and then proceeded to do the thing I love most in this game: weeding. Anyway, I then made some more plots and planted some mixed seeds along with the very expensive parsnips. Grabbed the fishing rod Willie gave me and went fishing by the little pond by my house. Got some broken glasses and some soggy newspaper. which was instantly replaced by a can of Joja Cola, which I then proceeded to sell along with the broken glasses. And so I decided to chop down a few more trees. Heard that sound again, and surely it's not the game being upset at me for chopping down trees, because there's no way this dude actually speaks to trees. I'm just saying. Anyway, raised the count to 9, followed by 10, and a weird sound. Choosing to ignore it, proceed to chop down both 11 and 12. And now tired, I head back home and went to sleep, marking the end of day 3 and the start of day 4. So I jumped out of bed and saw that today was the last day to grow the parsnips for Alex. So I ran outside just to find a crow eating my crops. And if that wasn't bad enough, my parsnips weren't even fully grown yet. Thanks a lot, game. Anyway, with the empty plot I now had, I planted a mixed seed and then proceeded to take my frustrations on the crow out on a couple trees. Just a few. Anyway, the count's now 18. Yay. While clearing some ground, I found another geode, and then proceeded to head south towards the barn. Went inside, and they were actually here this time. And it was Marnie. Howdy. Just to find out she was of no use to me yet, as I still haven't reached that point in the game yet. And so, defeated, I took my leave and headed into town and ate a dandelion for a quick burst of energy and made my way to the blacksmith, where I only just now officially meet Clint, and then cracked the geode I had and got an ornament from it, and then sold it for 80 gold and officially made my first 1,000 coins, and then left, where I ran into Sam and gave him my last dandelion, which he really didn't appreciate. And so, running back home, I run into Vincent and give him a rock, which, to be fair, isn't a dandelion. And so I make it back home and started mining some rocks, just to instantly be tired. So I rushed back home, walked inside, and went to sleep, marking the end of day 4 and start of day 5. Jumping out of bed and running straight outside and seeing I have mail and another crow eating my crops again. But the rock that was blocking my way was now gone, so I'm going there now. So I emptied out my inventory, but not before I watered and picked out all my parsnips and sold them, and headed towards the mine, where I then got into cutscene and was introduced to Marlon, where he was looking down the mine shaft, explaining that they've been abandoned for decades, saying that there's still ore down there, however it doesn't come without its dangers, and proceeded to give me a rusty sword and properly introducing himself to me, telling me I needed to prove myself if I wanted to become a member, as it all faded to black. So I did the only logical thing and went down to the mine. There wasn't too much down here, but I got to mining. Anyway, while mining, I found another pair of ladders, and logically, I went down them, and instantly got back to mining, and eventually found another set of ladders, and upon getting to the floor, instantly ran for this box, broke it open, and got a geode from it, and ran into this little green fellow, and asserted my dominance, and then walked over to these boxes, where I got a topaz, cave carrot, and 3 basic retaining soil. Picked up some quartz from the floor and went to the next floor. Got to mining and quickly found the next set of ladders and instantly went down them, where I was then met with an elevator. Noticed this guy and took no chances and got to mining, and after a little bit finally found the next set of ladders, went down them and got right back to mining. Noticed my energy was a bit low, and so I ate the cave carrot from earlier, and while mining rock, this thing tried to sneak up on me and made him quickly regret it, and then found the ladders to the next floor, where I found another quartz, an earth crystal, and just went to the next floor and instantly got jumped by 2 slimes. So I strategically retreated and found a strategically advantageous position and made short work of them. However, the second slime was significantly smarter, as they kept baiting my attacks, inching closer just to move back and charging a super special attack or something as they phased through me. However, that wasn't enough, as I quickly disposed of them, got some more quartz, and went to the next floor. Got some more quartz and found the ladders. Proceeded to then break these boxes and had a casualty. It wasn't my fault, it was his. He walked in it, y'all saw it. I then ate the cave carrot from one of the boxes to get some more energy and put on the small magnet ring from the other, and went to the next floor, where an elevator was waiting for me and a fancy looking chest. And upon opening it, found a pair of leather boots and proceeded to instantly put them on and went to the next floor, where I find my first amethyst. And after doing a little bit more mining, I felt tired, so I ran back to the ladders and left the mine and went to the blacksmith to crack my geode, just to find out it was closed.
Let me in. Let me in.
Anyway, on my way back to the farm, I met Elliot and decided to check the quest board, where I then saw Linus wanted a quartz, which I had more than enough of, so I quickly accepted the quest and ran towards him, quickly running inside of his tent and shoving the quartz in his face, and quickly took my leave and made it back home, where I quickly ran back inside my house and went to sleep, where I then leveled up in farming and mining, marking the end of day 5 and the start of day 6. So I jumped out of bed, ran outside, where Clint was waiting for me, where he said that he's noticed that I've been breaking a few rocks and finding some good ore, telling me if I wanted to get the most of it, I should smelt found them in a furnace, telling me that he had an extra blueprint lying around, and gave it to me, helping me learn the crafting recipe for a furnace, letting me know that once I crafted a few copper bars to bring them to him so he could upgrade my weapons. And then he took his leave. And with that in the back of my head,
turn around, Spider-Man over there.
I went and checked on my mail, where Marlon then acknowledged me going down to the mines and telling me after I killed 10 slimes, I'd be welcomed into his guild, and then had a second one from Robin advertising a well. I then picked my one parsnip and built a scarecrow, and placed it by my remaining crop. I then built a furnace, and then placed it right by my house, placed some copper in it, and then got my first copper bar. I then watered my remaining crop. I then grabbed all my precious material and went to town. Or so I thought, as I instantly got into cutscene the moment I stepped outside the farm, where Lewis was waiting for me by the old rundown building, where he then told me that the building was the old Pelican Town Community Center, telling me that it was once a part of the town. However, it was now just a shadow of its former glory, blaming it on a younger generation, saying that they'd rather be watching TV than engage with their community, mentioning that Georgia's been non-stop asking him to sell it to them so that they could convert it to a warehouse, adding that the town could really use the money. Instead, if anybody else buys a Georgia membership, he'll just go ahead and sell it to them. He then unlocked the door and we headed inside, and once inside I realized just how bad it'd gotten. And while talking, this little green thing showed up, causing me to start with Lewis, and the moment he turned around, instantly disappeared, prompting Lewis to ask if I was feeling okay.
What are you two looking at?
Anyway, I then walked over to where I saw it and found nothing. And Lewis said it was probably just a rat running around. But it wasn't. And it's there again. And it's gone. He then told me I was worrying him and he made an excuse to leave. And then he said he'd leave it open and see if I can catch that rat running around if I have any spare time. And took his leave. And with that, the cutscene was over. So I made my way over to Clint's just to find out it wasn't even open yet. So I waited outside of his shop and did this till 9 and immediately ran inside and instantly started cracking my geodes and got 3 pieces of copper and some clay, and then proceeded to sell everything I brought with me, finally reaching 2,000 gold coins. So I ran outside and made my way towards Pierre's, where I instantly ran inside, where I bought 5 parsnip seeds and bought the backpack upgrade, increasing my inventory to 24. And the moment I walk away, I see this 10,000 gold coins. My god. And so I immediately leave and go think about my life, making my way to the mines to empty out my head, and picked up where I left off, where I immediately found a challenger and backed him up into a corner, making short work of them, and immediately noticed the slime wasn't working alone, as there was this thing under the ground which I made very short work of, and got a geode from them. And exploring the cave a little bit more, I found 2 more, got one of them, then the other, and he dropped the cherry bomb, and while fighting the slime, he transformed into the ladders and dropped some green algae. Not questioning it, I go down them and ate the algae from the slime, got some coal from a minecart, and went to the next floor. And while mining, I started hearing buzzing, see this thing, and start swinging. And after a little bit of a struggle, I come out victorious. I then eat a wild horseradish, and after a little bit more mining, I find a ladder to the next floor. And while mining, I hear that buzzing again. And while swinging, another one comes and attacks me from behind. And after dealing with the first one, I immediately dealt with the other, only for a third one to show up right after. And after dealing with it, it turned into ladders, and immediately went to the next floor, and went back to the top due to my health, and make my way back to the community center, where this room really wanted me to walk inside of it. And upon interacting with this thing on the floor, realized I couldn't read this language. So I explored, finding this huge broken save, this rundown boiler, and these stars above what looks to be a fireplace. And with that, took my leave, and ran back to the farm, and planted the parsnips from earlier, and decided to make some copper bars, making my second, third, and while waiting for the fourth, the game let me know that it was getting late. So I ran inside and went to sleep, marking the end of day 6 and the start of day 7, where I ran out of bed, ran outside, and grabbed the bar from last night. And then I opened the letter that was waiting for me in the mailbox, letting me know that they know that I've been looking around inside the old community center, and that I should pay them a visit in the stone tower at the edge of the lake. From M. Rasmodius Wizard, which I definitely didn't forget about and spent the whole day at the mine. Anyway, I then watered my crops, and headed into town, and headed for the quest board, where Willie was looking for a smallmouth bass for an afternoon tea party, however declining it as I did not feel like fishing. So I made my way to Lewis's manor, and gifted in Malik that I had been saving for this very moment, and then I took my leave, and headed for the mine, and picked up where I left off. And after a little bit of mining, I find a ladder to the next floor, where I instantly go to attack the slime, and after killing it, it transformed into the ladder to the next floor. And while exploring, I hear buzzing, and after a little back and forth, came out victorious, and get back to mining, where I quickly find the ladder to the next floor, where I eat a leek to get some energy. I then find some topaz, and some coal, and while mining, I hear some more buzzing, and like the rest before it, I made quick work of it, and while mining some more rock, I heard some more buzzing, and made short work of them, and then I ate a parsnip to get some energy back. And while exploring, exploring, I heard more buzzing and quickly took them out. And when trying to find the ladder to the next floor, the game warns me that I'm feeling exhausted. And with no other way to get energy, I left a mine and ran back to the farm. Started smelting a copper bar, crafted 4 field snacks and 2 cherry bombs, and collected the copper bar. Ran inside and went to sleep. I then leveled up in combat and mining, marking the end of day 7 and the start of day 8. So I jump out of bed, and after walking outside, I wanted to say thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It'd really mean a lot, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.